He had already called forward to 3 counties, and they were all looking for me. The first NSX I had was, I don't even want to say I had nitrous on it, but there was a nitrous bottle in it, and I used it more for the shows. The second one was actually supercharged, Comtech supercharger that I absolutely love. This one I have right now is on with a LoveFab Turbo. I absolutely love this car. I use this car for different movies. It's been in Fast and Furious 5. I think it's been Fast and Furious 8. There was a show back on Speed called My Ride Rules. I was on that one. So I actually have a lot of fun with this car. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous platform. It's a Honda. It's super reliable and everything about it. The build right now that I'm currently on, the car was originally 3.2, but it's 3.4 liters sleeved. The block is good up to 800 horsepower. I have a Garrett Turbo 4088. It's a good sized turbo that's on it. Huge fuel injectors, about 1,000 cc pumping in fuel, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So the car moves. The car is probably in the mid sixes to the wheels, and it really boogies. But the story I'm about to tell, it's a little bit earlier. This is when I was probably about 480 horsepower. I was actually out visiting parking lots, and one of my buddies was in the car with me. So we hung out in the parking lot, and as we're driving home, he says, "Show me what it can do." And of course, me being an idiot, I look for a clear air and I punch it. I get up to about 140 miles per hour. I have the radar going and everything like that. All of a sudden, my V1 lights up. It's not a radar, it's a laser. We've been hit by laser. So I slow down. I don't even see the cop yet, but I know he's up there somewhere. So I slow down. I see the cop. I pull right in front of him. So he doesn't even have to get in his car and turn the lights on. So he literally walks over to my car, and I'm thinking I'm going to be nice, gracious, hopefully talk my way out of this ticket. Shrewd negotiations, you can say. That didn't happen. I talked to the officer. He's like, "What's your issue?" I said, "Sorry, I was just showing him real quick what." And it wasn't even 10 seconds I was at that speed. He clocked me at 123 miles per hour in a 55 zone. He said, "Get out of the car." I get out the car, takes me to the back of the car, and handcuffs me. I'm going to jail. He goes to the car and talks to my friend, and I love my buddy to death, but he's hearing impaired, so he wears hearing aids. So the roof's off on the car, there's drive-by traffic, and the officer's trying to talk to him, but he can't hear them because there's too much ambient noise going around. So the officer puts me in the back of the patrol car, and he's taking me to jail. What he was trying to ask my friend was, could he drive my car, and was he capable of driving my car, and could he take the car home? He was going to give me that courtesy since I pulled over in advance. He was going to allow my buddy to drive my car home. So of course my buddy's like, "Of course I can drive this car," and he takes off in my car. The cop says he can't let me go because he had already called forward to 3 counties, and they were all looking for me, which didn't make sense because he just let my friend leave in the car. He ended up taking me to the detention center that evening. I was not happy, I wasn't proud, but I go into Atlanta Detention Center at 1 o'clock in the morning, a place I never in my life thought I would be. So I'm in there, I tell my buddy, "Hey, bail me out." But he doesn't know that you can go to a bail company and it's only 10% of what your fine is. My fine was $1,800, so at 1 o'clock in the morning, he's looking for $1,800. He's calling all of my friends, his friends, all of our friends together to see if he can come up with $1,800. Who does he end up getting the money from? My ex. How in the world did he get in contact with her? I left my cell phone in the car, and he's like, "That's the only person I knew I could call that probably had money. You want me to call your mom instead?" I'm like, "All right, call her, that's fine." I'm in the detention center. I'm not in a jail cell. I'm just like in a big cafeteria with all these other people throughout the night. I'm just listening to the charges, and it's interesting. 1,800 for me for speeding. I think they said reckless driving also. I think there was another particular person who got arrested for DUI. Of course, there were a whole bunch of DUIs there. There were some prostitutions. So the women were isolated. They're on the other side of the jail. Then all of a sudden at 4 o'clock in the morning, they said the computers are down. So even if they came with the bail, they couldn't let us out until the computers came back up. 5 o'clock in the morning, they tell everybody to get up and get in line. I have no idea what's going on, but apparently it's breakfast time. So everybody gets in line. They give out bologna sandwich, a cookie, and an orange or grape drink. I'm not eating any of this stuff because I'm figuring I'm going to be out of here in a few minutes anyway. As I'm sitting there waiting for my friend to come and bail me out, I'm hearing people do trades on cookies for juice or sandwiches for milk or whatever the case is. But this is a place I don't want to be. So of course, about an hour later, I get the call that, "Hey, come on, you're about to get out." So I get out and go over to the other area. They're about to take me out. But at this point, I don't know that it's my ex that's with my friend that bailed me out. So when I get out and see the doors, I see my buddy. Hey, what's going on? Then I see my ex. What in the world is she doing here? Regardless, they got me out. The hardest part, though, was having to explain to my mom what happened. And I waited about 4 or 5 days before I told her. But I said, Mom, I got arrested. And her response was, for what, speeding? So she knew me. She knew it was only a matter of time before I got arrested for speeding on the streets. Needless to say, from that point on, I started doing airfield events. So we started racing on the airfield. Drag events were too short, only a quarter of a mile, but with the boost that I had in the NSX, I wanted to now do half-mile events. So we started doing half-mile events, Want to Go Fast, other things. There was another mile event in Miami called the Mile Marker. We went to Texas 2K to Texas Mile. So that's where I started doing it to kind of get my fix for speed and get it off the streets. I ended up going to court, and I had to hire a very expensive lawyer because in my industry in valet parking, I'm the face of my company. If I get that ticket, my insurance would skyrocket. So I had to plead with them, and we ended up talking it down to, I think, driving without my license. So it took a lot of money and I had to volunteer time in a halfway house. So there was a lot of stuff I had to do to get out of this. It wasn't that simple. And the attorney, I think, cost over $5,000 to get that done. But at least that's better than having this on my record. I've done many road rallies at that point. And '04, we did the AKA rally. And that's actually how I met Ed. And then I think it was '05 or '06. I'm not sure what year this was, but probably '06. One of the prizes was a laser jammer. And the laser jammer was actually in my trunk. Doesn't help me when I knew I got clocked on V1 by the laser, but it was in my trunk. And at that point, I just threw it away. It was not going to be any good to me anymore.
Going somewhere in a hurry, ma'am? Let me explain your options.
Never mind, I got this.
TheTicketClinic.com.
Use the code VINwiki at ticketclinic.com for a 10% discount on their ticket fighting services.